We got spacers nearby. Happy times. Bye-bye. Send with love. Looting the dead ain't glamorous, but it sure is profitable. Enjoy! Only positive about spacers is they usually have loot. Just don't think too hard on where they got it from.
That was kind of shit.
Thanks for the help. I promise that safe is worth the effort. Well, look at that. You actually made it back in one piece.
I've got no problem taking out a couple of spacers.
I didn't doubt you for a moment. I sure lucked out when you came aboard. The Trade Authority owes you for this.
Board's green. Ready for what comes next. Time's release. We're free.
Oh. What happened on the Rangers here? Very strange.
This was literally nothing.
Oh, well,
until
that's
Ron Hope came here.
eerie and creepy. Okay.
You here for comment? You ready to do some business? Music to my ears.
That's the first time they've spawned people like that. Nova Light. Advanced Big Bang. Nova Blast.
Yes, what?
Inches rounds fire through a 2-barrel attachment for different express shots. I don't want red shot.
Well, you can never go wrong putting some more TLC into your main weapon.
Payday is always a good day.
I don't want to hear any complaints. You made it. Those outlaws didn't give you too much trouble, I trust?
How you feeling?
I can walk, talk, and breathe without too much pain. That's good enough for me.
No trouble at all.
Good. I'm sure it didn't hurt that I softened him up for you. You've got good timing. A courier just came in from Aquila. The Marshal sends his regards along with a briefing on your case. I was surprised as hell to learn about the starship theft. Nobody said a word to me about it. Anyway, Mr. Hope can see us whenever you're ready. If you need to take a little time first, feel free.
Nobody from Hope Tech reported a theft?
No, and I can't get answers as to why not. I'm sure Mr. Hope has his reasons.
Let's meet Ron Hope.
His office is upstairs. He's in a meeting, but it should be wrapping up. Come on.
Trucks in space. Their motto always cracks me up.
Ron Hope isn't just the founder and president of Hope Tech. He's on the Council of Governors. The Council oversees the Freestar Rangers. So don't rattle him up. I've spent a long time trying to build a good relationship with Hope. He comes on a little strong, but there's a lot to admire about the man. Everything you see around you, he built. Pretty much everyone in this town owes him for their livelihood. Can't begin to imagine the kind of pressure that must put on someone. All I'm saying is, try to show a little respect. All the way up. Is it just me, or does every executive in the settled systems have an office on the top floor? I guess being above everyone makes them feel like they're, well, above everyone.
Do that.
Keep an eye on your valuables.
We could try outsourcing. Do a contract with scavengers, maybe, but that's a decision that's got to be made upstairs.
Well, talk to Elaine about the scavengers. It's not a bad idea, provided we get a good deal. And I don't mean a fair deal. I mean a good deal. Remember, it's not just our bottom line that matters. We're also responsible for the welfare of everyone in the factory. We look out for our people here, Bridget. That's a point of great personal pride.
Excuse me, Mr. Hope?
Well now, the Freestar Rangers. At last! Dan, good to see you. I think we're done here, Bridget.
Yes, sir.
This is the deputy I told you about.
Splendid. Splendid! It's a noble calling, being a Freestar Ranger. We certainly could use more of you. Let's get down to it, shall we? Time is money. I'm sure I don't have to tell you what an outrage it is to have a ship stolen right out of the factory. Justice must be done, and the sooner the better.
I found the ship on Montera Luna.
That's good news. I'll send my people over to bring it home. Of course, that doesn't mean your work is done. I want the thief found and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of my position on the Council of Governors.
I don't give a damn about your position.
You'd better learn some respect, Deputy. One dispatch to Aquila City, and I can end your brief career in the Freestar Rangers.
Rangers gotta play nice with the governors. Comes with the territory.
Now, tell me that you've at least got a lead of some kind.
Of course I do. A group of mercenaries hired a thief to steal your ship.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Sadly, there's no lack of mercenaries in the settled systems. I suppose the chance to cut costs by stealing a ship was too good to pass up. Well, I'm not sure I can be much help, but I'll answer whatever questions I can.
Is there anything unique about the stolen ship?
No, nothing at all. It was just a standard Hope-Tech cargo hauler. Not that it didn't have great value, mind you. Hope-Tech builds some of the most durable and reliable starships in the settled systems. Now, you can bet my ships last twice as long as anything Stroud Eklund makes.
Did anyone see the thief?
We questioned everyone who was in the building when it happened, and not one person seems to have seen anything at all. Frankly, I think that's both highly unlikely and more than a little suspicious. However, I can't deny there are times when the hangar is empty, so it's not inconceivable the thief could have slipped in unseen.
The thief had inside help. Know anything about that?
What? Nonsense! We vet our people thoroughly here. Hope-Tech holds its employees to the very highest standards. Nevertheless, I suppose
he's the one that did it.
Could have Cosette conduct a
he
thorough
screams like a person
personnel
that did it.
review.
He wants that land
Rest assured,
for himself.
if we
He
turn
thinks
up
it belongs to
any
him, so he
evidence
hired a
one
few
of our
people to
people
do
was
it.
an accomplice, I'll let you know.
Why didn't anyone report the theft?
Because I told them not to. If word got out, it would do irreparable harm to our image. I'm in fierce competition with other starship manufacturers. Any sign of weakness could be fatal. What's more, every starship thief in the settled systems would likely flock to Hopetown and start planning the next heist.
I think we're done here.
Very well. I need you to understand something, Deputy. This town is home to men, women, and children who depend on Hope-Tech for a living. I provide jobs that put food on their tables and a roof over their heads. It's a responsibility that I take very seriously. If word gets out about the stolen ship, my investors will lose trust, and my workers will pay the price. I can't allow that.
You've got a reputation for looking after your own, Mr. Hope. I'm sure the deputy here will keep that in mind.
Is that so? Well, I'm glad to hear it. I've worked hard to make sure that everyone here is well cared for.
I make no promises.
A ranger's first duty is to protect the people of the Free Star Collective. If your carelessness costs my workers their livelihoods, then you've utterly failed in that duty. I hope you understand that, Deputy.
I don't care.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Hope, but there's been a development.
Not now, Cosette. I'm in the middle of something.
But sir, we have new information. I've just received a report that the stolen ship was seen landing at Neon just after the theft.
A breakthrough at last. Well, Deputy, it sounds like you'll be heading to Neon, which means I can get back to work. Remember what we discussed. My people are depending on you.
Hey, can I get a word? That wasn't as helpful as it could have been. Still, at least you know where to pick up the trail.
Waste of time.
Not completely. You've still got a lead worth following. So, guess you're headed for Neon. There's a ranger stationed there. Name's Jalen Price. He's a little different than the rest of us. But Neon's a different kind of place.
What can you tell me about Ranger Price?
He's what I'd call a pragmatist. He sees things for what they are. He's also well-connected, which means a lot on Neon. You should listen to what he tells you. It'll keep you out of trouble.
How's Neon different?
Well, we could talk for an hour about that. The short version would be that crime, law, and justice don't exactly mean the same things there. The badge doesn't carry the same weight on Neon, so you might have to get creative.
I've spent time on Neon. I know how different it can be.
Good. That should help you avoid any unnecessary complications. Well, we've both got work to do. It was good to meet you, Deputy. Thanks again for helping me out up there.
What's next for you?
I'll be taking it easy for a couple of days. Need time to heal up. Then, I need to get back up there and keep an eye out for more pirates. I'm hoping to track one of their ships so I can find their hideout. Guess we could both use a little luck, huh?
Keep your eyes and ears open. I'm not sure we get the whole story here.
Yeah, the question of who helped the starship thief is still an open one. Don't you worry. I'll keep an ear to the ground. You be careful in Neon.
She's dead. She's fucking dead. Everything is heading towards Neon, man. Everything. Alright, you know what? Let's start these two.
I don't want to like it, but I got to admit, New Atlantis is classy.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know.
Your mother is on the council?
My relationship with the UC.
Okay.
It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
Are there others from your program?
I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young. Training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it.
You're a clone of a man? How does that work?
A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked.
This Ve Victus must have been an impressive commander for the UC to want a clone.
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned.
What did your father do to merit being executed?
He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the colony war to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him.
You're not your father. If the captain doesn't see that, it's their problem, not yours.
I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here.
Your eyes, they're red. Is that a result of cloning process?
That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift.
Are you willing to tell me any more about your father?
I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being fleet admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy, perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me too. But Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life.
Any suggestion what I should say to the cabinet?
Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions.
But honestly, what are the risks?
Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise.
All right, let's go.
Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
Every time I get near Matt, he'll arrest me. There's a code there. Get him, boys.
Pardon? Need to make sure all of those reports are annotated by the end of the day.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Thanks don't keep my ship fueled, man.
Captain, that's the president of the colonies.
I don't care.
Vanguard.
Certainly comfortable speaking your mind now, aren't you? Not an unwelcome quality considering the circumstances. Regardless, let's get to business. We have 2 petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
Remind me, what is kept in these archives?
All knowledge related to the technologies banned by the UC and the Freestar Collective after the Colony War resides in the archives, including the aforementioned Terramorph data you and Hadrian are after. I want to know what you, someone with less direct involvement in the Armistice, sees as the purpose behind granting said access.
We're just trying to figure out what we're facing. We can't make an informed decision without data.
That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
Nothing special, really.
Hey, don't get bashful on me now.
That's very interesting. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
Yes. If the fear is the data being weaponized, the Terramorph program failed. The data is not dangerous.
And that data may be the key to stopping untold suffering. Greater good is calling. You gotta pick up.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God. Holy, we need to move.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. It's going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
Well, goddamn, this got exciting fast.
You! The EM rifle, grab it! Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Please! I can't stop!
That's it. Now hit him with everything you've got.
Oh.
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready.
Does this mean I need to worry about you turning on me?
I honestly was just wondering the same thing. But no, you don't need to worry about me. I've had a Terramorph try it on me before. I'm not susceptible. So we'll just have to make sure to watch out for each other down there.
Are you suggesting Terramorph can control someone's mind?
I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them, but still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terramorph.
Sounds like we need to hustle.
Let's do it.
That's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
What is this? Gravity dash? So, dashing increased damage. It's definitely made for shotgun.
God, no time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some...
If you're not a bottle of antiseptic, then I don't need you.
An evacuation order has been issued for the spaceport district. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
Cora likes throwing stones into the pond. She did. God, that was ages ago.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Good.
Captain! You're going to be okay!
4,000
It's not
XP.
real. Whatever you're experiencing right now, it's not real! We have to put down that morgue!
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, but we're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Holy damn. Speak to the fire team.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us.
And you're sure you're not going to turn on us out there?
We're not afraid, but we'll stay here and hold the line if that's what you want. You're the experts.
Yeah, we'll handle this. You stay put.
Your call. We're on the line.
Save. God damn, these things are tough. Tough little bastards. Save. I wish we fought more of them.
Jacob would think of a crow helping to save New Atlantis. Damn if I'm not proud of it, though.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place.
All in the day work, Sergeant.
Like hell it is. I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Jesus. I need to oil up this thing.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
The loss of life.
Captain?
The damage to
Hadrian?
the spaceport.
It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
I take my gratitude in credits, real estates, or luxury goods.
I had some ideas on that front, Captain, but we'll get to that. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative.
Why not send a diplomat, someone trained this sort of thing?
The cabinet wants progress, and wants it quickly. You're already far more familiar with the situation than any diplomat would be. There's also no diplomat alive that can claim they helped keep a cadre of terramorphs off the embassy doorsteps. The cabinet was unanimous. They want you.
Tell me what I'm getting first, and I'll consider it.
The very next item on my list. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. Get you access to those credits and real estate you're after. So, will you help us?
A free house? Yes, and what do I get for being a citizen?
It has its perks. Only citizens can purchase property in the city. We also pay reduced prices on most goods and services across the UC. There's also a credit disbursement when you first join. Help get you on your feet. But above all, you'd become a dedicated part of the greatest faction in the galaxy. If you're willing to help us, we can open that door.
You can count on me.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. We're dismissed.
You know, you give Sarah Morgan a run for her money on smarts. Just saying.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
Hey.
The things we do here, the tech we develop, benefits all of humanity. It's quite the conundrum you two have uncovered, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
Oh, thank you.
Spaceport security would have detected terramorphs on someone's ship. So, how the hell they get here?
Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
They're responsible for all the banned data from the Colony War.
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
What can you tell me about these codes?
No. Each is a strip of several million random numbers generated on the fly based on biometric keys kept by each of the ambassadors on their person at all times. They're impossible to create without those keys, and those keys stay with the ambassadors, meaning we're accessing nothing if we can't get them on our side.
No problem. I'm just going to need some electrodes, a tooth extractor, and some sodium pentanol.
Very funny. This is going to be hard enough already. Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
Let's go for House Varun.
Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Why? What's wrong with House Varun?
Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
No arguments here. House Varun seems like nothing but a bunch of madmen.
That does fit the facts and evidence. They just plain scare me.
They certainly come with a checkered past, but there's an additional wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
What do I do if he's dead?
Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Wait, has no one actually been inside the embassy?
The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out.
What kind of life signs did you detect in the embassy?
The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador.
Here's hoping we're not chasing a corpse.
It would at least be a speedier negotiation. But I, of course, hope the ambassador is alive and well. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Tell me about Ambassador Radcliffe of the Freestar Collective.
Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
Well then, hope she's doing a good job.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
I think you're underestimating how delightful I am.
Huh. Well, if that's the case, I'll wait to be pleasantly surprised. But we do have one item up our sleeve. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the Ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
What can you tell me about this staff member?
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the Ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts.
Any other things I should avoid doing while inside the embassy?
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
So kill everyone that goes against me? Got it. That's all the info I need for the moment.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Okay.